Hey guys, happy Monday, it's time for Comic Equation. I'm Comicmanjake, here in the Comic Cave, anything can happen. So for those who don't know, what a Comic Equation is I take a movie that is a superhero movie, you know, whether it be live action or animated, and I see how true does it stay to the source material. And then we give it a rating of how much I believe has that, and that equals out and you know, figuring out the fractions and how much of it do they take equals out to this movie. So for this one, we're going to be doing an animated movie. We're going to be doing the part 2 of the Death of Superman series, which is called The Reign of Superman. The Reign of Superman came out last Tuesday. I got the chance to watch it on DC streaming service. That's the cool thing about it, is if you get DC streaming service, if it's a animated movie and it comes out, DC streaming will have it immediately on there. So I immediately went and watched it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But did it stay true to the source material? Well, let's find out. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is really a generic plot of it. And for those who don't know, this is going to contain a little bit of spoilers on it. I'm sorry. If you haven't seen it, you should be seeing it by now. But so, The Reign of Superman is based off The Return of Superman. And that was a comic that basically brought about the death of comics. The death of comics, meaning basically anyone, you could kill any superhero and bring him back to life. Because back in the day, if you killed a superhero, they'd stay dead. Nowadays, that doesn't happen. So, and this was the thing. So, we're introduced to these 4 different supermen, all claiming to be Superman. Steel, Superboy, Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman. All of them are claiming to be it, and in the end, the real Superman comes back and none of them are the real one. In the movie, they had to change a lot up. If you watch my previous video, which I will put a link in the card up here, is right here, and in the link down in the description below, on the Death of Superman, you know that they changed the origin of Doomsday, where Doomsday was just a creature that came. He was, I believe, Kryptonian before, the ultimate weapon. And in the movies, they changed him to be Apocalypse. So it was Darkseid sending him down to be this ultimate assassin. They kind of did the same thing here. They incorporated a little bit more of Apocalypse on the whole movie, mainly with Hank Henshaw. Hank Henshaw is Cyborg Superman. He claims to be the real one. He was like the most realistic in the comics. He was the closest thing that Lois thought was the actual Superman, but in the end, it turns out he's not. He actually wipes off Ghost City in the comics, and that was one thing I didn't like they did. They didn't do anything with that kind of wiping out Ghost City. They could have set up an awesome Green Lantern movie, animated movie, if they followed that. They didn't do that, though. What they did do was they had a lot of creativity in it. I mean, it had hints of the old story. I mean, having the 4 main characters, you know, Eradicator, Steel, Superboy, and Cyborg, and then eventually the black suit Superman. Yeah, I mean, it had the generic story, but there was a lot of twist. For instance, my favorite character in the whole Return of Superman, the Eradicator, was more of a program. He wasn't real at times. He was just a hologram at times. They made him just a hologram, like a really hard hologram. Other times they made him, you know, and the whole point of the Eradicator was he went down, took over Clark's body, and then kept on trying to heal himself, and that in turn did heal Superman. Well, same generic principle kind of happens there. He's healing himself every time he gets into a fight, comes back, and basically he's healing Superman. With Superboy, I mean, they did a little bit more of a story. They didn't really focus on his origin as much. They really did have an open-ended kind of story. Superboy kind of was a hard one to talk about because it really made him feel like a jock. And that's what he really is in the comic. He was like a jock character. He was just this character that, he was a teenager. I mean, he didn't know how to live. He just wanted to be famous and want to be known for it. And he literally does do that in the movie too. Steel was good. They didn't follow his kind of story that they did in the comics. In the comics, he's fighting against this weapon that he made. It's a really powerful weapon. He's trying to wipe that off the streets. In the movie, he really doesn't do that. He's more focusing on helping the citizens of Metropolis and actually helping take down Lex Luthor, it looks like at times. A Cyborg Superman, like I said, they made him more apocalyptic. He was serving Darkseid. He was supposed to be bringing about Darkseid. They made him basically Steppenwolf, where Steppenwolf goes to Earth, preps the way for Darkseid. That's what Hank Henshaw was in this type of sense in the movie, they made him more of a Steppenwolf, which I kind of liked. I mean, Steppenwolf really isn't known to be that powerful. I mean, everyone will, if you're reading Earth 2, he is, but he's not known to be like a really powerful character, and really not that well of a known character. So to make Cyborg Superman the herald for Darkseid was, I thought, was a good idea. Now, do I think they did a good job keeping to the source material? Honestly, if I'm giving this out of a 10 right now, the 10 would be 10 out of 10 means that it is to the T the comic. 1 out of 10 means nothing. It means like literally like they took like it's just bare minimum. I maybe would give this, I want to say, a 3 or 4 out of 10. Mainly because they really had to incorporate the whole apocalypse concept into it. In the comics, it's War World, and Cyborg Superman is taking actually over Mongol. Mongol is basically like he's kind of like Apocalypse. He's kind of like Darkseid, but he's not nearly as powerful. In which he's always wanted to destroy Earth. He wants to always capture it. They really, I would say 4 out of 5, mainly because they got the Superman right. They just didn't get the overall story right. Now, the remaining 6 out of 10, that's creativity from DC's animated series, and you get that 10 out of 10, you know, Reign of Superman. Now, based off that, am I telling you guys this is a bad movie? No, not at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great movie that I thought did a good job keeping closer than they did with Superman Doomsday. For those who don't know, they made a Superman Doomsday movie a long time ago, which was supposed to be the death and return of Superman, and they got the death right, but they didn't get the return right. The return, they made it really weird, and it was bad. It was bad. I was really mad about that. So when they announced they were making the Death Superman, and then they were going to make a Reign of Superman, I was really kind of excited for it. I definitely would watch it again. I'm going to watch it again, because it's one of my favorite series, and it's one of my favorite, you know, right now, one of my favorite movies. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie. I'd highly recommend watching it to you guys too. There will be a link in the description down below if you want to buy the movie. You can buy it either, there'll be 2 links, one for digital and one for physical. And let me know down in the comments down below, guys, who's your favorite Superman? If you have watched Reign of Superman, or if you've read The Return of Superman, who is your favorite Superman? There are 4 of them. There is Steel, there is Eradicator, there is Cyborg Superman, there is Superboy. Put down the comments down below. And as always, guys, subscribe to this channel if you have not. We have great content coming for you guys. And as always, guys, have a good Monday and peace out.